Hello everybody, in this video I will teach you how to solve quadratic equations. If I may suggest something to you is watch the videos on factorization first and then come back to this one. A quadratic equation is an equation where the exponent of the variable is 2. The answer we get from solving a quadratic equation is also called the root of the equation. In fact, they are the x-intercepts of a parabola. Now, when I give you the equation solve x squared minus 4 is equal to 0, you will see that x squared minus 4, that is indeed the difference of two squares. So we can factorize that one by saying x minus 2 bracket x plus 2 is equal to 0. And then what we do is we will take each factor individually and equate it to 0. So we will say x minus 2 is 0 or x plus 2 is 0. And then x is 2 or x is minus 2. And then here on the left you will see there's a sketch of a parabola, and there on minus 2 and 2, the answer from your equation, they are the x-intercepts of the parabola. Let's start with examples. Solve for x, and then I give you x squared minus 5x equals 0. Now the first thing you have to do when you want to solve a quadratic equation is your equation has to be in a specific form, and that means all the numbers and variables on the left hand side, and it has to be equal to 0. And then we always factorize by taking out a common factor. And now the common factor is x. And then when you take out x, you're left with x minus 5. And then you can say x is equal to 0 or x minus 5 is equal to 0. And x is equal to 5. The second example, solve for b. So again, everything is on one side, in this case the left-hand side, equals 0. The first thing we do is we factorize. So this one we can factorize by taking out a common factor, and the common factor is 5b. And we're left with bracket 4 plus 5b. And then we can say 5b is equal to 0. And then we solve b by dividing both sides by 5, and then b is equal to 0 over 5, which is 0. Or we take the other factor, the bracket, and we say 4 plus 5b is equal to 0. 4 walks across and it becomes negative 4, and then to solve b, divide by 5, divide by 5. So the answer, b is equal to negative 4 over 5. When we solve a quadratic equation, we have to write the equation in standard form. That means all the terms on the left-hand side equal to 0. And we have to write them in a proper descending order. In other words, x squared x constant equal to 0. So when we look at example 1, where we have to solve for x, the problem is that your equation is not in standard form. That means the 12 will walk across and it becomes negative 12 equals 0. Then we always check that it is in a proper descending order in terms of x. Therefore, 2x squared minus 2x minus 12 is equal to 0. That is correct. Then we want to factorize, but before we factorize, we must always check if we can't make our equation a little bit easier. In this case, we can divide right through by 2. So when you divide every term by 2, it becomes x squared minus x minus 6. And then it's much easier to factorize that equation. To factorize this one, we will say the factors of 6 are 3 and 2. I want the middle term to be -1. And then how can 3 and 2 give me -1? -3 plus 2 is equal to -1. Therefore, the factors are x minus 3, x plus 2 is equal to 0. And then I can say x minus 3 is 0 or x plus 2 is 0. And then solve x is 3 or x is -2. On the right hand side, solve for x. Now you will see that it's on the left hand side there's a 0 equals everything else. Now that isn't a problem. It doesn't matter if the 0 is on the left hand side or on the right hand side. As long as on the right hand side where all your terms are grouped, that they are in a proper descending order. X squared, x number. Again, in this one, we can make it a little bit easier by dividing right through with a -2. And remember, when you divide with a negative, all the signs will change. And then it becomes 0 equals x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then we factorize this equation. The factors of 1 are 1 and 1. We want the middle term to be -2. How can 1 and 1 give me -2? -1 is -2. Remember, this is now where that other course comes in, the factorization of trinomials. Now we can factorize and we find 0 is equal to x minus 1, x minus 1, and we solve x. Therefore, x minus 1 is 0, or which gives me x is equal to 1, or x minus 1 is 0, x is equal to 1. Now you may wonder, why do we get the same number there? Later on, when we do equations, when we do functions, I will show you that this is going to be a parabola, and there at 1, this graph will cut. Solve for a, and then I give you a plus 2 is equal to 18 over a minus 1. So now we find a fraction and the denominator is a. So we have to find an LCD, and the LCD is a. What do we do with the LCD? We multiply every term by the LCD. So every term gets multiplied by a, and then it becomes a times a is a squared, 2 times a is 2a, and equals, and here on the 18, the a and the a will cancel, and I'm left with only 18, and minus 1 times a is a. Then I want to factorize this equation, but first of all I have to get it into standard form. So standard form implies the 18 will walk across and the negative a, and then it becomes a squared plus 2a plus a minus 18 equals 0. And before I can factorize, I first need to add my like terms. So I find the 2a plus a there, and it becomes a squared plus 3a minus 18 is equal to 0. Now I factorize. So I take the 18 and I say the factors of 18 are 6 and 3. I want the middle term to be plus 3. How can 6 and 3 give me plus 3? Plus 6 minus 3 is equal to plus 3. So therefore the factors are a plus 6, a minus 3 equals 0. And then I say a plus 6 is 0, or a minus 3 is 0. And then on the left I solve a is equal to -6, or a is equal to 3. Solve for y, and then I give you the equation. Now the first thing that has to happen here is we have to multiply in the 3 to get rid of the bracket, and then it becomes 3y plus 3 is equal to 4 over y plus 2. Again, there's a fraction, and the denominator is y. So we need to find an LCD, which is y, to get rid of the denominator. What do I do with the LCD? I multiply every term by the LCD, and then it becomes 3y times y is y squared plus 3y is equal to, and then here on the 4, the y and the y will cancel, and I'm left with 4 plus 2y. Again, my equation is not in standard form, so the 4 and the plus 2y will have to walk across, and it becomes 3y squared plus 3y minus 2y minus 4 is equal to 0. And then I have to add my like terms. And then 3y minus 2y is just y, minus 4 is equal to 0. Now I have to factorize. This one you will say the factors of 3 are 3 and 1, and the factors of 4 are 4 and 1. And then we want 1 at the bottom. So we say 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 1 is 4. And can 4 and 3 give me 1? Yes, indeed. Therefore, the factors are, up there on the right, 3y plus 4, y minus 1 is equal to 0. And then I split them up. 3y plus 4 is 0, or y minus 1 is equal to 0. And then I'm going to solve y here. So the plus 4 will walk across and it becomes minus 4. And then to solve y, divide by 3 both sides. Therefore y is equal to 4 over 3. And on the right hand side, y minus 1 is 0. Solve y, y is equal to 1. In the next video, I will teach you how to do simultaneous equations. Click on the video in the left-hand corner to take you straight to the next video.